welcome to the Align with Aline podcast. It's my absolute delight to introduce you to the wonderful Angèle Cristina. Now, Angèle is a wonderful life coach. She helps people all over the world, get my right teeth in. She helps people all over the world bust any fears to live the best version of themselves and choose love over fear. And Angèle has come on today to share her beautiful presence with us and some wisdom and guidance and tell us her story. Thank you so much for being here, my gorgeous.
Hi, gorgeousness. Thank you so much for choosing me to share this moment with you. And as you said, share my wisdom. I wouldn't say that I have wisdom for myself, but when you say it about me, I'll take it.
Absolutely. Do you find as well when we're helping others, it's also words of wisdom for ourselves, isn't it? So
Always, all the time. Actually, that's something that I didn't realize through my coaching experience. And then I've started to notice that everyone is a mirror, and who I meet is putting up a mirror for me to heal even further and deeper, and that I didn't expect, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I absolutely hear you. So you started off life in the creative arts, and then obviously now you're a beautiful life coach. Can you tell us your story, please, of when you realize, actually, I'm really here to empower people to be the best version of themselves?
It's a beautiful journey. Thanks for asking. So I started as a teacher, and I was a drama teacher.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
for me, I taught theater and to children, to students at school. And I always wanted and pursued to bring out their confidence. So this bringing out power, and in that version
Was already there.
confidence was already there
Yeah.
from day one, basically. And it was something that brought me a lot of joy. I used to see these shy kids who went on stage just light up, even if they don't have lines to say. They feel important. They feel that they're doing something worthy. They're being seen, they're being heard. And you know how important that is for children.
Yeah.
And that eventually transferred. But before that, before being a coach, so that was already nurtured. In between, I was a TV presenter, which also really helped me get to know myself and who I am. Because I did, yes, come from the arts. My grandma was a popular actress in Malta, so I was used to being on the spotlight and on stage. However, it was very comfortable for me to be a character and become a role. And I never knew who I am and what I want from life, because I always hid under that role very comfortably. So when I was a TV presenter as Angele, I did not know what that looks like. So I had to start discovering who I am. So I left teaching for the TV presenter job, and then eventually I moved from Malta, where I am from, to Ireland, and that also started a whole new trajectory. I did work a little bit with kids under drama in Ireland, but then I started my coaching business. And in the beginning, I was a camera confidence coach because I married the confidence that I had from drama teaching and the TV experience. And at the time, it was very important to me to help, especially startup businesses, about how they show up on camera. Because obviously social media became a big thing and people didn't know how to set up their studios or their homes and how to do little videos. Eventually, I realized that it wasn't the camera stuff that I was helping them with, but the deeper stuff. What's holding them back from showing up? What is their fear? And I have a friendly relationship now with fear. First, I faced my own, which was crying in public. I never wanted to talk about my grandma who passed. I thought that I would cry and never stop. But after facing my own fear, I thought now I can help others with their own fears. And that's how then I got into choosing love over fear, because I realized that I can be happy even though she passed, which was a thought that I never allowed myself to even think about when she was gone for over 20 years. And then one day I decided that I want to be happy, not happy that she's gone, but happy with the experience and the teachings. And also she taught me how to coach in a way, because when I used to see her help younger actors around her, and I used to always be around her as a child and as a teenager, I was watching her basically coach them, but it wasn't a thing then. So I've absorbed a lot from all over the years, and now it makes me, I feel a wholesome, intuitive, certified life coach, that I'm very proud to hold these women into the light and show them that there is so much more potential that they see for themselves.
That's so beautiful. So from a really young age, you were already observing and absorbing being a life coach, watching your grandmother. How gorgeous.
Correct, both. But and
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
fascinating that now I can connect the dots, but I never did that before the last year, to be honest.
Yeah,
Recently it came to the surface. I was like, oh yeah, look at that. That's very interesting.
amazing. Well, there's lots of unraveling going on at the moment, isn't there?
Correct.
We're really discovering, and I really feel this year is such a year of remembering who we are with the water rabbits. And
Oh,
it's,
absolutely. We need to see where we're coming from, right?
yeah,
To
yeah,
acknowledge where we're going.
yeah,
And that's not
absolutely.
always an easy one.
Well, that leads me to my next question really beautifully, actually, because if there's, because we're going through so much change and so many people are feeling it, would you have any advice? Because this is one of your specialities amongst so many, is really getting to the core of what somebody is feeling and how to help them push through that. So if somebody's really feeling they're in a process of change, for example, so let's say they feel friends are going around them, they feel relationships are ending, but although it's really, and I'm getting goosebumps saying this, and although they feel it's really difficult, they know there's something deep within them and they know that they're here for something else. Is there any advice you would give, and I'm covered in goosebumps, is there any advice that you would give anybody going through that at the moment that just give them some support? Because we're all here together. It's about unity, not separation, but we really have to help each other. And so please impart your words of wisdom.
I love that question because it is exactly what I have been going through myself over the
Wow.
most recent years, one, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've gone through the waves and ups and downs, especially the downs that I didn't think I'm going to manage to come out from the other side. And I always love that then there are moments where everything makes sense. And this is one of them, because now I'm imparting my experience with you and your viewers, not knowing then that this is going to come to a purpose for someone who's listening and watching. So thank you also for that.
Thank you.
The hardest part is to believe that this is for your own good and for your own growth, because we can't see it. We are used to a world where it is so here and now and so immediate, and growth and healing doesn't work like that. We need time, we need space. And for time and space to be allowed, you need to be very, very gentle and compassionate with yourself. I remember I went through a phase last year, and even maybe the year before, where I was so lonely, but the loneliest of lonelies I've ever felt. And this was after a pandemic. And I thought that I was lonely then. And it was just emptiness, which forced me to look inside and love myself and care for myself and be kind to myself and be gentle with myself. Because if we have all this fluff around, it's very distracting. And I never allowed myself to go that deep until that moment. So the moment of loneliness, today I look at it and I see it as a moment of kind of like a vocation, like a solitude, like a gift that I had, that I took an opportunity to look within. Many people might avoid it, but if someone is watching this and is going through this very, very lonely moment, or how can I say, like it goes against the grind, against the usual, it's not normal what you're feeling, it's very new. I think that's a nice word to use, because I don't like the word normal. I don't know what normal is,
No, who
but it's
knows?
new to you. It's a new experience. You've never felt like this. The fact that other people around you might be dropping off like flies, or you really want to be alone, which was something that I never experienced. I always wanted to be with others, but this felt like I wanted to do it alone. I think the kindest word I can say is give yourself compassion. Be so kind to yourself, treat yourself like you are your own best friend,
Absolutely.
and set up a space that you feel safe in, and a time that gives you space and time to breathe. Don't give yourself like fixed. You say, for example, in 3 months, I have to get out of this rut. Maybe you need more than 3 months, darling, because it's growth and you're healing from many big things. And if people around you are not showing up at the moment, don't take that negatively against you, because everyone has choices. Not everyone likes to see other people improve or grow or heal. So that's another thing. However, you for yourself, because that's who we care about, see it as an opportunity to say, you know what, this is me time. It's quite extended me time, but it is me time. And I'm going to be as kind to myself as I can. And I think the biggest thing I can say is allow yourself to feel all the feelings, because they're going to come from all angles. They're going to be really, really low vibration. Some of them might be also very high vibration. But if you experience anything like I did, there was a lot of low vibration. And since I did not allow myself before, or society does not allow us to feel these low vibrations, they're kind of shunned upon and thrown under the rug. I didn't know what to do with them, and I decided, it was my New Year's resolution in 2021, to feel all my feelings, whatever they are. If they are anger, if they are, even heavier, bigger, whatever emotions, sadness, fear, all of it, I'm going to feel it. Because then when I'm feeling it, I'm acknowledging it. And once I acknowledge it, it comes to the surface and I can release it. But if I'm going to continue pressing it down, like I used to do for those 20 plus years with my grieving emotions around my grandma, it's not going to work. It's going to be suppressed, and one day you will burst, and that usually does not look like burnout. Sometimes it looks like, I don't know, something, a relationship goes really south. Doesn't have to be romantic, could be with family or friends. So I really do encourage kindness, compassion, and to feel all the feelings.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Because there's this real kind of Pollyanna idealism sometimes, that to be spiritual you have to be happy all the time because everything's wonderful, and be positive. And it doesn't work like that, because as you so rightly said, if we push down, there's going to come a breaking point.
Absolutely.
And I really, and so many people, like I said, goosebumps, so many people are going to resonate with that. So thank you so much. It's just really knowing to stand in your power, to love yourself, like you said, treat yourself as a best friend. And is there anything perhaps like journaling or meditation or being in nature and just...
Yes, so journaling was never, I'm more of a spoken word person. Obviously,
Yes.
I literally spoke for my profession, and I still do. Even though I have a gratitude app that I do every day since 2021, that helps me start the day on a higher vibration than in a rut. Even though I still will feel whatever is coming up. And I also have to take a little tangent here. You mentioned spiritual, and I love that word. Many spiritual people who might be watching this might forget that we are empaths. And when we are empaths, we are going to feel all the feelings and emotions of what is happening around us and who is around us. And then we don't know what to do with it. So us being happy and fluffy, yes, is the result of, today I can say, me working through whatever I absorbed from the world or have within me, and then let it go. And that was the part that I was not aware, that when I absorb, and I've been doing this since I was a child, I never released it. I never got rid of it. So that's where then the gratitude app helps put me in a higher vibration. Absolutely. Nature. I need water, even if it's a shower or a bath when it's a very, very cold winter day, but going out by the river, by the lake, by the canal. There are canals here where I live. It's really, really beautiful. Trees, greenery when it's green, but not necessarily greenery. It's the fresh air. It's even, like getting really, really, I remember there was an ice cold day in winter where even my eyelashes got icy, and it was such a beautiful feeling to just allow yourself to feel, because we're feeling whatever it is, it's still a feeling. And feeling cold or feeling sad or feeling lonely, it's still a feeling, which is nice to feel, because we are not allowed to feel. I think those are mostly. I also enjoy to move my body in ways that my body is joyful with. So it could be like a stretching, usually it's around Pilates stretching. I also have Pilates classes that I do. I started pole dancing, I started cycling. So these are other things that usually they're more in the sunnier days. I have to admit, I was quite hibernating this winter. But I also enjoy moving my body in ways that bring me joy, that I know that afterwards I'm going to feel better. So those are things that I try to incorporate to help me through this process of, like the caterpillar becoming the butterfly during that transformation. Beautiful. They help, I have to be honest.
It's in my throat chakra now.
We are speaking our truth. So
no, absolutely. I've mentioned this before, actually, when I was coming on just to do not just to do, but it was just me talking about how to recover and get yourself back from self-sabotage. And my throat chakra, absolutely, we're speaking our truth. And this is one thing as well that we spoke a little bit about beforehand, before we started recording, but perfectionism. It's this whole, everything has to be perfect. You have to be in this little box, and what are people going to think of me, or I have to show up absolutely perfect, and then all, the spiral of negative talk can come on. I feel that's really important as well, is to accept ourselves exactly as we are. And that for me is compassion, exactly as you said, compassion.
I think perfectionism, as you said, boxes us. And I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. What is perfect? Because it's never perfect. I did go through the phase of perfectionism, especially when I was a TV presenter, because I wanted to look in a certain way and deliver in a certain way. And then when I watched it back, I was like, who is that? That is actually not me. I don't know who that is, but I don't want more of that. I want more of me. So I don't know what me was either, but I let that more out.
Gorgeous.
And it was a really interesting balance between who I thought I needed to be and who I actually am. That authenticity was never present in the years before. And when we don't know what that looks like, we try to aim for something that we think people are expecting us to show up as. But people actually don't expect anything. What you give them, they take. This is the world we live in.
Absolutely.
So it's a self-feeling that we put on ourselves that does not help us grow or shine. And it is a lot of pressure. And I stopped being perfect. One, after the TV experience and having so many things spontaneously happening, because it was a live show and you just have to roll with it. From there, I learned just get on with life. But also when I took that onto my online world and onto coaching, there are so many things that people experience that me trying to be perfect in any way, I'd rather be cleansed. So I'd rather now, before a coaching session, make sure that I'm not bringing any of my prejudgments or preconceived thoughts, beliefs into the session. That but that's nothing close to perfect. So I don't even use the word perfect anymore, because to me, perfect is maybe the version I would use today is showing up as my best self at that moment, not in a big scale, in a smaller scale like today, showing up as my best self for me, so that it will help the process with you. So it's more a self-gift, if that makes sense. Whereas before, perfectionism was a blockage, a ceiling. And people who I think aim to be perfect don't really love their true self, and maybe they don't even know what that looks like. So I do invite you to take that quiet moment and start removing those levels and those layers of the onion to come to the diamond that you really are.
That's beautiful. I love that. Unravel the onion layers and reveal your diamond self. Gorgeous. Because what I really feel as well, and I've been feeling this in the last few days, because you're an intuitive empath, I'm an intuitive empath, there are so many of us, it's almost like it was a learnt behavior in childhood, because we realized that for us to feel okay, everybody around us has to feel okay, because we're feeling all the feelings. So it was almost a learnt behavior of people pleasing and showing up, I suppose, if you like, as the perfect good girl, the perfect good boy, so everybody was okay. So and again, I've got goosebumps. So there is such an unraveling, isn't there?
I really resonate with the people pleasing. First of all, I was on stage, so literally I pleased people. People applauded for me, and I loved that instant gratification, which now we get from social media perhaps, and I still love it, because it's nice when people applaud, but what happens when people don't applaud, or when there aren't people? So we get used to this. People pleasing was a big thing that I had to face, and it was exactly as you were saying, to accommodate those around me. I most probably in many ways was not really comfortable, because as we said, we park our feelings. So my feelings weren't important, but I didn't want to make others uncomfortable. And it's still in the beginning of my coaching business and experience showed up with, I'm not going to say my clients, but the people around me, because I tried to inspire or transform everyone and there were people who were not ready to be transformed, and I felt like I'm being pushy to get them on the boat and row away and make them, but they were not ready. And that was a very, very difficult learning curve for me, to understand that not everyone is ready, and they will come when they are ready. That was so hard when you run a business, when you're paying your bills from your own gift, and you try to rope in and you try to literally throw in the fishing rod, and that doesn't work. And when you come from a place of, I remember the emotion I associated with this was a desperation energy, like I want to fix you. That I realized was not a high vibration, it was more of a need and want, which was from kind of like, it reminded me of gluttony in a way, like it's not a good feeling. It was like a, like a crave, not a, I would love to help you. That's different. That's open. This is taking. And when I became aware of that, I was like, okay, no, 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 no. So me wanting to change the world one woman at a time changed into, when you are ready, I'll hold your hand and we go together.
Wonderful.
But the person has to be ready. And that was also something that came to my awareness through a very difficult client experience, who just vanished after working with me for years on end, continuously. And the person just blocked me and stopped paying. And it was like, what is happening? And the person just most probably refused to admit that they don't want to continue working on themselves. They chose the easy way. They ghosted me, literally.
Wow.
And it was a very, very difficult experience, because obviously we also built a friendship, and it was like a breakup, basically. And that really taught me that I need to listen to my intuition. And if the person, and I had vibes and red flags along, and realizing that the person is not actually applying what I'm recommending. But at the end of the day, coaching is about showing the possibility, and then the person themselves need to go through the ebbs and flows. And I was doing that part, but it was not taken in and applied. And I kind of persisted because there was that desperation energy. And when that happened, it was a wake-up call of people are not ready when they're not ready, and we have to let them go.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's so important. And being people pleasers, being ex people pleasers, I really resonate with this as well. It's almost like, well, I want you to feel better, because then I know that I'm okay and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be here to do. So I really hear you.
That, because I needed to also give myself the like tap on the back that
validation.
Validation, that's it, exactly. So if I'm helping you, even though you don't need me, I feel good about myself. That's not how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it can be to other people's detriments as well, because they're not experiencing growth, or they're not having the experience, the lesson for them to stand in their power and go, actually, I'm okay, I've got this, I can deal with this. I think it's arrested development, something like that, when you're not allowing people to have their own experiences. Because, and I'm speaking just personally for a moment, when people are around you and they're used to phoning you up and saying, oh, Aline, you or Angele, you always know, can you just look into this for me, or can you just do that? It's like, ask Aline, ask Angele. They get used to your way of being, don't they? And so when we and I really feel this is what so many people are going through with the unraveling, the intuitive empath, standing in power, in their own power, and going, healthy boundaries is actually saying no. Because then that person can, although it's difficult and people are a little bit like, well, what's happened to you? Who are you? That is, and again, I've got goosebumps, that is, and we're going into healthy boundaries now, that is creating healthy boundaries.
Absolutely. Boundaries are so underestimated. I never learned boundaries. I come from a very small island where everyone is in each other's face. So when I was on TV, I felt like everyone knew me, which maybe was cute or whatever it felt. And then it was so overwhelming, because literally people were getting into my business, into my personal life, and I hated it. And that also taught me that when we are growing and when we decide to take a path where we believe that we deserve more joy, and more happiness and more lightness, like not heavy in our life, it's not going to be liked by everyone. And those who choose to stay in their comfort zone, which, hey, growth is not for everyone, they
Sure.
are going to look at us and be like, what is she on about? She is snobbing me, she is avoiding me, she is. And that's how it might look like from their lens. But I really need to honor, and you watching need to really honor yourself, because when we still are around those people who are going to hold us back or bring us down, even some kind of toxicity, whatever again that looks like, family,
Mm,
friends, colleagues,
mm,
any version of that, you are not going to be able to improve and heal and grow at the pace that you could when you pause them,
mm,
when you cut some cords,
mm,
when you free yourself from anything that's holding you back or anyone that's
mm.
holding you back. So it is selfish choice for self growth that you should consider, because that is something that is so unrecommended, and I dislike it. That is I had to use the word selfish. It's actually selfless when you think about it, because
I
when you
think
put
selfish is a
yourself
great word.
first,
I use selfish because it's yourself.
exactly. So it is for
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
and now that's not a bad thing. So
Mm.
selfish, like, I know
Yeah,
the phrase, and I'm sure you've heard it, self-care is not selfish. It's
yeah,
kind of on those terms, but
yeah.
really deep. Healthy
Mm.
boundaries is really, really hands-on, action-taking self-care.
Yeah.
Because when you realize, when you stop and scan what's around you, if it's, as I'm saying, a work situation, a person, uh, um, something that you found yourself in, that you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I allowing this to happen? Friends, family, exes, relationships, whoever they are, when you realize that this is not serving you, and you made a choice because you recognize that when that is gone, you will be better. That is
Mm.
okay.
Yeah.
That is so okay. And I am saying this because I'm on the other side. When I stopped things, situations, and people that weren't serving me, and I blocked them from my life, permanently or temporary for some, lucky them, um,
Yeah.
I strived, to be honest.
Mm,
I did really well,
mm.
because then I had the clarity. But this is like, I always say this, I always bring pictures. If we are a hot air balloon, whichever balloon, mine is pink, maybe with turquoise stripes, and the
Perfect.
hot air balloon is there, and these
Hmm.
situations and people are weights, we are not going to fly, are we? So, how are we going to own and get into our true intuitive power?
I love
If
that
these things
annotation.
and
Yeah.
people are holding us back, we need to get that scissors
Mm.
out and gorgeous cut them off. And
Yes.
if on the journey with your hot air balloon, you're going to spot someone or something that at that time will intrigue you again to reconnect, do that. But then you are from the healed version of you, not from the I'm holding myself back version of you. So
Mm.
the relationship will then blossom if it's meant to. And if not,
Sure.
continue hovering and look
Yeah.
at other flowers. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. And also, would you say, because it's having compassion with ourselves, but also compassion with others, because although it feels like rejection or, from their side of things, because they don't understand, for many of the viewers of what you're going through, these beautiful changes, because would you say, Angele, that they're feeling from their stories, they're feeling from their fears? So when people say, oh, well, I wouldn't do that, or no, you might do this, or that's holding us back as well. And sometimes it's through love, and it's family and friends who are just worried for us. But
Yeah.
it's really saying, actually, whatever anybody says, I trust implicitly in my inner power, in my inner strength, with my higher self, and I know I have to do this. Would
I
you?
think that is very good to recognize, because you mentioned in the beginning the love and the fear, which are
Yes.
always my two compasses.
Yeah.
And if I am going to park my love and
Mm.
my love and fear-ometer, and listen to what you need, I
Mm.
am already not putting myself first. And I
Absolutely.
don't think that is healthy for healthier growth and impact that me and you want to make.
Mm.
If you are not looking for impact, then feel free to listen to others. But I have really shut others off. And when I recently opened a couple of windows, I realized how quickly I absorb whatever it is, and it's not good for me. Like yesterday, I genuinely unfollowed I don't know how many people, because I came to an awareness
Mm.
that following a certain like community that I was
Yeah.
following, which so
Hmm.
that I don't throw anyone under the bus. It really wasn't serving me, and they were under an umbrella. And I was like, why am I doing this? So I'm looking for connection, but through this opening connection, just following these people, it's actually still not serving me. And I have done many times this cleansing. So if I'm going to put their feelings before mine, I'm going to go back to square one. So you need to be very sure that you are choosing love for yourself over fear. And then if you find it necessary, open the doors to others. And I understand with family, sometimes it's so hard. But if you are not sure of where you're standing because you're still in your healing journey, you need to put their opinions, thoughts, suggestions to the side, because they will blur your vision for sure, because they are coming from their experience and their stories, and they do not see it exactly how you see it. And yes, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be misunderstandings, there's going to be maybe even phases that you don't speak to each other. Also, that's not tragic, it's human, as long as you know within yourself that when you're ready, you'll go back. I've actually gone through something very, very deep, very recently, literally last week and over the last days. And I never thought I'll be in this place, but it was very deep, very hard. After taking space, it wasn't a complete cutoff, but I distanced myself healthily. And now I am ready. And now I am reaching the hand. But gift that to yourself, because society really puts so many flowers and rainbows and butterflies around family members, for example. And it's not always like that, because they come from a completely different background. Self-development wasn't a thing. Putting yourself first wasn't a thing. So how are they going to understand me wanting and choosing to do that? They're not going to understand. And even if I speak to them, they don't come from that. So we're going to disagree. So let's agree to disagree, ask for that space, have healthy boundaries, and then maybe in the meantime, reassure them you'll go back, or keep a healthy communication going, even though I don't like small talk, but continue being present with those boundaries, very, very, very secure in place. And then when you are ready, yes, your flower will grow and you'll be able to bloom, and maybe even bloom with them or in front of them.
Gorgeous.
But only when you are ready, and honor that time for yourself.
Beautiful. So it's just taking those distractions away for a little moment. And would you say also filter as well, whenever we're having conversations, because we all have conversations, there's media, there's news, we're surrounded by information. Listen to everything with a filter, especially as intuitive empaths, would you say?
I would not say listen to everything. I would say be selective to what you are open to. I went through phases when the world was going through whatever it went through different phases of things. I actually am not open to certain information because I recognize. So I see the first thing and I feel this drop. And then I stop and I say, am I ready? Absolutely not. So I do
that's
not
the
get into
filter.
that at all. I do not watch videos of people suffering. I can't.
No.
And I actually never really come to a place where I can. I think 2 weekends ago, I went to an exhibition, and part of an exhibition was highlighting this tragedy, right? And I literally was in the exhibition and there was a video wall, and I could not put my eyes up and look. I felt that if I'm going to look, it's going to destroy me. I just knew it because I'm very in touch with my intuition, with my body. I can feel it. And I said, why would I do this? Just because I'm here, I don't need to raise my eyes and absorb that. But that comes with practice. And a little version of that happened before and maybe happens on social media. And when people are posting about something or talking about something, no, you do not need to participate. You do not need to be there with them. To me, it's more honorable and it's more a self-gift that you can give to yourself, and you say, pause. Is this giving me love or fear? It's actually making me contract. So then not now or not ever. I remember with the Ukraine-Russia story, I think it took me 2 or 3 months to finally find it with myself. And I sat with my husband and say, okay, tell me now what's happening. I genuinely took a couple of months because I knew we're close here in Germany. I just was so overwhelmed. And even talking about it makes me like this fire of not good fire, like come here and I don't like it. And when I gave myself the space and the time, then I was like, okay, let me kind of be informed like a citizen, like what's happening, what do I need to do? So I kind of got the tip of the iceberg and a bit of a summary, but seeing all them videos of whatever was happening, absolutely not from day one. So I hope this kind of applies to what you were asking. Rather than filter everything, don't take everything in, and notice your body when you are receiving that information,
Yeah.
even if it's a text or a call or a post. Notice your body. If you feel contracting, if you feel a version of fear, if you're feeling heavier than you were before you saw that or before that connection, do a little bit of a scan right after. Take a breath and say, is this for my highest good right now to continue developing into, looking into, exploring? Most probably, if you've actually stopped to think about it, it's a no.
Absolutely.
And give yourself that time and compassion.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, because I was actually talking about, but it's so relevant, right? I was talking about if we're in a situation, we're talking to somebody and they're giving advice and opinion, but that is crucial as well. Personally, I try and avoid the news as well, because I feel so much, and there is, let's not go too far down the rabbit hole, but there is a lot of fear mongering around us, trying to keep us in a state of fear, because that's how we can be controlled.
It sells. Fear sells.
Yeah, fear sells, exactly. I mean, there's always, when the news is on, there's red, which is, the root chakra, the fear, etc., so forth. So it's absolutely everywhere. So I love that you've said that, because and you mentioned it before as well, there's this real kind of gratification thing with social media, the dopamine shot when you get a like, is not looking at everything, not engaging in everything. And I love that you're saying, stand there in your power, just really feel into your divine self. And is this for me? No, okay, that's fine. I'll get on with something that is for me. And you mentioned earlier about cleansing as well. And one of the points that I'd really like to make as well, that you mentioned water, because water, rivers, sea, jumping in the sea to cleanse ourselves, but just walking by the water, being intuitive empaths, that's the best, isn't it? Walking by the river, it just all trickles off, would you say?
Absolutely. I love it. That's literally planned for today, because I'm going away. And when I do go away, and it's going to be quite busy, I prepare myself, and I go to the lake here, which is very, very close by. That's why I am where I am. And I just take a moment and kind of, how can I say, like prep my body for what's to come, if that is even a thing.
No,
because I know what's coming. So before, I never did this. And it's really interesting that now I can say this, that I do prepare myself. And I think water is very underestimated. So if you are an empath and you don't know where to go, start with I think it's called a cleansing aura shower. That basically you just stand under the shower and just let it all wash off and let it all go. And I also love looking at the drain and seeing it go away. Like that is so powerful, to see whatever heaviness, and maybe even you say words like, I choose to release all heavy energies that I have been carrying with me right now. And you make a choice that's from power, rather than letting them engulf you. But yes, going to then physical water or swimming, I go swimming as well. Even in winter, I go to the pool. It's very important for you to recognize what you need. So if you are a person who you think that you like water, dig a little bit deeper. When do you like water? And I discovered mine when I did this deep dive around losing my grandma and finally trying to face this fear of facing my emotions. I recognized that when I was still in my home in Malta, there were many times that I used to just jump in the car and go to the beach, go by the water. And I said, oh, okay. So I always did that, but without the awareness that I did that to refuel my soul. I never connected one to the other. So if you do a couple of these things, even if it is to the forest and you go to trees, that's also something else, because you have the wood energy there, you have the grounding, you have the safety, the soil, the earth. So depending on whatever element is for you, mine definitely is water. Recognize that that's not just a thing. It is literally how you are going to recharge yourself, recharge your soul, or prepare for what's to come. And like for me, for example, if I have a face-to-face coaching session, because usually I work online, so face-to-face is much stronger, I make sure I have a bath. so that I gift myself this calmness, this washing off of whatever I would bring to the table, which I don't want to. I want to be clean. So there is always an element of water, yes. So do recognize your patterns where you are pulled to go towards, and make a connection with you being an empath. And I think you'll
Gorgeous.
really start learning things about yourself that you will be very surprised in a positive way.
Thank you. I love that. And another really beautiful way as well, just going with the cleansing, is salt in the shower as well,
Oh,
because that
absolutely.
really, really releases. So you mentioned how you prepare for your sessions. Would you mind explaining a little bit? I mean, I know obviously all sessions are completely different, but how would a session with you go? I mean, obviously, I'm going to share all your information because I know lots of people are going to want to get in touch with you.
Thank you.
But how would a session with you normally go, should we say?
Well, a first session is
Mm,
different because it depends
yeah,
on. So let's talk about the first session, because
yeah,
if it's one, or like from a transformation journey, let's say it's a 6-month journey, that's quite
of
different
course.
because I would already know the person. So let's say I don't know you at all. I do
Yes.
have a very, very quick, simple quiz with questions that really help me recognize where you're at. In fact, it's called Where You're At quiz. So I know where you're coming from and what is holding you back right here, right now. I do not necessarily need to look far to recognize your potential. That's a gift I have, that as soon as I meet you, I'm going to see you as a star already. And I can see you already wearing your cloak, wearing your crown. That is, I can already see you. So it starts with this very small quiz, which by the end of it leads to a chat with me. And during that chat, I would bring up maybe some different angles to what you answered from that quiz, but also allow you to share, to speak to me why you would like to speak to me today, and recognize the language. Mostly in the first session, I listen to the language that someone uses about themselves, and it shares so much about who we are, how we think, how we behave, our patterns, sometimes even our upbringing. You will be surprised how much a coach can tell from a chat with you, in a good way. And then if you are ready, I would suggest what I feel would be the best way forward for you to achieve growth in a way that you would like to achieve your growth. And it's a very simple chat. I love chatting with people. I love connecting with people. There's always zero obligation to commit to anything. I don't like selling. What I like to do is making you aware that you deserve a better life. That's what I will do. That is a guarantee. I will definitely on that chat make you aware that you deserve better. If you're not ready, if the finances are there, I respect everyone and everything. I don't have that desperation anymore. However, sometimes people tell me that chat really changed me because you sowed the seed of potential. You're welcome. And even if you're not ready to go on the journey with me, fine, I still sow the seed. I still am doing what I do and sharing my gift with you. And if you're ready, let's hold hands and soar together. And I will pick you up when you're down, and I will be there for you to hold space when you're going through a tough time. We'll do this together. And people have achieved very, very beautiful, huge things in their lives. And I'm excited to explore what we can do together.
Gorgeous. That's so beautiful. Had to drink water while I was listening.
You needed to refuel, right? Like, oh, why is it me? Yeah.
That is just so beautiful. And of course, I will share all the information so you can get in touch with Angele. And as I said, I imagine and I know so many people. That's why I really felt, because you said at the beginning, thank you for inviting you, but like you, I feel, and I just really feel that there's so many people that you can help. So, and you are. So thank you so much.
I'm so happy that not only you have recognized, but even I have recognized this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is again where I will bring the people, mostly women I work with, but not necessarily. If there are men who are ready and who
Sure.
don't let their ego stand in the way,
Yeah.
let's go. And I am sharing this part not to brag, but to show you that even I was there.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that I could change people's lives, but now I say it about myself because so many people tell me, so many clients put it in their reviews, Angèle changed my life. It's not a small thing, like yeah, you can literally change the direction you take by having someone shine light on a path you never knew was there. That is so gorgeous. I
It
think
is
my
so
grandma did
gorgeous.
versions of that, and I
Mm,
still have it innately. I was going to say I can't not do it. I can.
you can.
I really do restrain myself because in that first chat, I want to hear more from you
Mm,
instead of me giving you solutions. This is not a
mhm,
question of solutions. This is a question of I want to know where you're at, where you want to be, and then I will help you bridge the gap. And it's not a quick fix. You're not going to have one session and then suddenly show up as
mm,
the best version of yourself.
mm,
Some people are close to something and then they need a push. Fair enough. There could be like power sessions that happen like that. However, most of the time it is a journey
yeah.
because, when we sow seeds, I love this example. I saw it once on a video. You don't sow a seed and then you look at the plant pot and you're angry at the plant pot that it hasn't blossomed. We don't do that, do
No, I
we?
love that.
But
Yeah.
with ourselves, we do. We are
Mm,
so unkind that we're like, come on, but you have to start blossoming. Whoa, you need the right conditions, you need the right lighting, you need to water it, you need to leave it alone,
need to
you need
nurture.
to put it in the sun and the darkness
Mm,
and
mm,
look at it again and maybe give it kind words and encouragement and motivation. And then suddenly you have this little thing, and it's still not a thing, it's a little sprout. So I remember that video and it really, really reminds me how unkind I was to myself. And I want to remind you that if you are there, it's okay. I will help you recognize that you are there and where you can blossom, how
beautiful.
you can blossom.
Absolutely
Because it
beautiful.
is possible
Yeah.
for sure for everyone. It's always a question of choice. I think that's something that I've really recognized in my coaching journey, especially as a coach.
Mm,
We always have a choice. And to me, choice is power. Not being able to choose. There are some dire situations where people can't really choose. It's very disempowering and it's very sad, but it's what it is. But in most choices, in most situations, people have choices.
mm,
And even though you feel there is no choice, there is a choice. So just speak to someone who you resonate with and allow them to shine that light and sow
mm,
that seed. Because choice is power and it will get you closer to the confident, better version of yourself
mm.
for yourself. The others will gain, the others around you will gain from that, but you
Absolutely.
start with you for
Yeah.
you.
That's so beautiful. And you are such a gorgeous shining light yourself anyway. You really are. And so I love that it's not saying to somebody you need to do this, 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 and this. Here's a list of what you need to do. It's giving them the opportunity to recognize their own power and know that
Absolutely.
they have the answers within them. Oh, I absolutely love
Yes,
that. And
that is exactly it. We have it all
gorgeous.
within. And I went through the journey of thinking that it's all outside of me. I used to do 25 things at the same time and have choir and dance and run and TV and shows and I don't know what else. I used to do so too many things when I was still in Malta.
Mm,
And that was a distraction. That was me hiding from and running away from addressing me to me.
mm,
And then, as soon as you stop, you start strengthening your superpower, which is your intuition. And when you listen to yourself, you recognize that you always have the answer. You know if it's right for you. Your gut feel, for me, it's a gut feeling. Some
mm,
people have heart. I have literally like my stomach. Now it's very strong. So you know the answer, you have the answer, but that doesn't happen overnight. You need to reconnect with yourself. And to do that, you need to stop all the noise. And yes, you could meditate, you could go for a walk, you could journal, you could do whatever rocks your boat. I color, by the way, I do like mandalas and I color
I
in
love that. Yeah.
something that I
Mm,
listen to a podcast usually and just take in whatever I'm ready for that day. And in the meantime, I color on an app. So it's like very automatic in a way, like I don't need to think.
mm-hmm,
There's a number and that number tells me to, tells me what to do, so I don't need to be too creative, but also
mm,
I'm a little bit creative because by the end I have a picture.
gorgeous.
So whatever rocks your
Mm,
boat, that stops your brain and calms you down, that's when we are connected to our
mm,
higher self.
mm.
And if you're going to fluff around, it's not going to happen. And obviously, again, this is not for everyone. For us to be able to stop is a courageous step.
Yeah.
It's very, very courageous and brave for us to say, this has not been working for me. What now?
Mm.
And then you look the other way, which is within.
Yeah, because
But
there's so
yeah,
much busyness, isn't there? There's so many people keeping themselves busy, so
yes.
people see
I
that they're
dislike
busy.
that word so much. Yeah, busy is distract. I'm distracted is the correct way of
Yeah,
readmitting.
absolutely.
I'm very distracted today, rather than what is busy? What really is busy?
Mm.
Because if you love what you do, I never say I'm busy. I would say my schedule is fuller or less full, but I would never say busy, because to me, busy is this trying to chase something that you will never catch. And that is not my lifestyle. And you will be surprised how you will be able to run. Like, my life is so calm and relaxed
Mm.
because of the choices I've made, because I honor myself, my worth, my time, my gift. Whereas when I was busy, I was nowhere close to this calmness. I didn't even know how to breathe, let alone be calm. So there is a choice of changing your life around. And even if you do have kids or people you're taking care of, it's always still possible. Because when you do make a choice to grow and change, suddenly you became on the list, not necessarily top of the list yet, but you're on the list. Wow, you weren't even featuring before. That's
Sure.
already a step.
That's
So
beautiful.
everything is possible.
Yeah, I love that. Everything is possible. So for people who say, I don't have the time, get up half an hour earlier.
Mhm. I
You
remember
know?
when I was in Ireland, I met this coach who really helped me recognize that I could be a coach. And I thank her from here.
Mm.
And she has 4 boys, but she always takes vacations alone to refuel herself,
Hmm.
to find herself again, and to then go back being a better mother. And even though I'm not a mother, I always share this example because it's a choice. You are not a bad person when you put yourself first so that you are better for yourself and them. And I had never heard anything like this. Where I come from, it's unheard of that a mom would do this, especially a mom of 4 boys. Like, what are you doing and how selfish or whatever it is? Yeah, be selfish, because then you're going to be better. You're going to have been refueled. You're happier. You're in a calmer, grounded place, and you function better. And they also start recognizing that this is important for a man or a woman to do for themselves whenever they
Absolutely.
meet whoever they're going to meet in their life.
Mm.
So it's also a part of growing up and lessons for, your children or whoever you're taking care of. I think it's really, really nice to recognize. So yes, I think time and priorities and boundaries are really, really good. And also, once we're here, recognizing obligations. I think when you recognize what you have in your life that you do because you feel you should, I genuinely ask you to do a scan. Do a scan of your life and check, what am I doing in my life that I feel I need to do, but really and truly, when I put my hand on my heart, it's not serving me. That is called obligation. And obligation energy is a very heavy, kind of guilt-loaded energy
Hmm.
that does not feel good. And if you always used to call your sister every Friday at 6 p.m. just because you always did that, and now it's really, really bugging you because at 6 p.m. on Fridays you switch off and whatever, communicate, change it. Why do you do this to yourself?
Mm.
And obviously I picked a random thing.
Of
It could
course.
be whatever, but I hear many versions of this call with your sister.
Mm.
And I am in awe of how people do not stand for themselves and how unimportant they treat themselves. If you are now in a different position than you were when you agreed on this 6 p.m. call every week,
Communicate.
recognize that. And you also need to
Mm.
communicate it. My sister or your sister is
Mm.
not going to know that you are coming from a place of obligation. But if you
Yeah.
recognize that and then set a healthy boundary, then you're going to be closer to be in alignment. I know this is a big word, but I think it's really nice to recognize those steps. And it really helped me when I did my first scan. Oof, there were so many things I just did just because they were in place ages ago, and I never had the audacity or the power to change them. You do, and you can. And your life will be better after, but in the beginning, it will be a bit, again, against the grain. They won't like it. You will feel uncomfortable. It's icky.
Mm.
But wait for it. There will be a bonus by the end, and you will feel really proud of yourself that you honored yourself and you also honored the growth. Because
Mm.
maybe, going back to the sister example, maybe even she will be like, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, maybe you did it for her as well. And then you agree on another day and time, or not at all, or whatever, that then both of you are coming from a place of love.
Mm.
Because if you choose obligation, obligation has an underlying emotion of fear. you're afraid of change, you're afraid of upsetting the waters. That is fear. Try
Yeah.
to not come from fear, try to always come from love. So always ask that question, is my decision based in love or is my decision based in fear? And if that is coming from either, run with it or change it or stop it. It's very important to ask that very simple question. Or if it's for yourself, am I choosing this or doing this from a space of love or from a space of fear? Does it make me contract or open up? I think everyone will know the answer. Your body will also give you an answer when you ask that question.
I was really feeling everything you were saying then.
Yeah.
So I love that. So an obligation scan, and the way that we can communicate as well is from heart. So it's loving communication. It's just being honest and authentic. So this is actually what's happening with me. I've got a lot of changes happening in my life. So please, can we have our call another day? Or please, can we, and again, I'm just using the sister example. So please, can we have the call another day? Or can we have a 2-week break? And just really, here it goes again, really
Honoring yourself.
communicating and honoring yourself and being authentic. The other person will feel that, because when we accept ourselves and accept what works for us, other people really feel that. And if they don't honor that, like you so rightly said, Angele, if they don't honor that and it's a bit fractious, then it's absolutely right for you to have that space for yourself. Really is.
And in fact, last week I wasn't 100% myself. I was working something very deeply within myself. And then it showed up in my body, as it always does, but maybe that's a discussion for us. And I postponed a coaching session. And my reason was, I will not be my best self for you, because that is the truth. So I could have done it and I would have been half, maybe even less, to be honest, because I really wasn't there. But I would have pushed myself, which would have made my healing process longer. And me recognizing that and honoring myself today, I didn't do that in the past, I would have pushed through, really made me better, because then we had the session yesterday and I was shining and ready and glowing and I held space for her. But if you are not well, also that's something that I would like to maybe mention a little bit. Recognize that, give yourself time to heal. Why are you pushing through? For whom? Your employer is not going to pay you more just because you push through your unwellness. Absolutely not. Honor yourself, listen to your body and what your body needs. And if your body needs a break, a pause, a breath, a day off, take it.
Absolutely. I second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes. Yes.
And the crowd goes hard.
Brilliant. Because that's the other thing. This is another thing that I was really feeling when you were talking about love over fear, is our body recognizes it. And if we're in an obligation situation or we're just feeling fear all the time, then our body reacts. The cortisol goes through the roof. And then our body can turn into almost, we can get post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, we can develop chronic, I mean, I don't want to do fear mongering, but if we don't look after ourselves and we're intuitive empaths, because we feel so much, this can develop and show up in the body, in PTSD, in chronic fatigue system. And just by making those really delicate, gentle changes and conversations with those loved ones around you, because if they truly love you, they will accept that. It's really loving yourself and saying, this is what's going on in my body. I choose love over fear, and I choose to love myself. Because and I hear exactly what you're saying. I'm going to share as well. I had a situation last week, and I won't go into it too much, but I mentioned it actually on a live the other day. I had, a very uncomfortable day. And I realized that I had been pushing myself so I could help others, or so I could make sure that I was showing up and doing my lives, or make sure that everything was all ready on social media, etc., etc. And my body just went, stop.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
I love that. And you also mentioned that they have to accept you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you used those exact words, but you were used the word acceptance. And for me, it's also not important.
Yes,
so,
no, absolutely. But yeah, absolutely. But
you know
when
what
we
I mean?
accept
So if you
ourselves,
come with a need of space,
did I?
time,
Yeah.
and you choose it again from love, it is from a high the choice has been made at a high vibration, which means that even if they don't accept it or they don't recognize it or see it or approve of it, you made it from a space of a high vibration, which is something that's going to eventually honor everyone. So like the ripple effect,
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
a positive effect, not in the immediateness of it, but you need to really, really be sure and certain that it is coming from a place of self-love. And you're like, you know what? I know I'm not my best self. Why would I do this to myself? And you have a pause or a break, even if it upsets the waters, because eventually, you know, we all know how waves work. One day the waves will settle, the tide will go up or down. So that acceptance needs to be for yourself,
I
even
agree
if around you
wholeheartedly. Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
immediate.
Yeah.
It usually is not immediate. People will not like it because they're used to you grinding. They're used to you hustling and they're used to you whatever. For whom? Because that is
Yeah.
another thing. We
No,
try to please others before ourselves, going back to the people pleasing. But at the end of the day, you're getting unwell. You have to live with it. You have to, whatever, have a really tough night and wake up, whatever. Like I have recognized recently that I've been calming down because I'm getting better sleep. But when I was on this stress level, I used to always wake up at a certain time and be annoyed. And then my thoughts, my brain is full of thoughts or worries or whatever, not really worries, I'm not a worrier, but thoughts or possibilities or options. And then I start going and I can't sleep.
yeah.
And that was because I was on stress response, I was running on anxiety. And then when you calm yourself down and you put yourself first and you say, yes, I used to do also a YouTube channel and it's been on a big pause because I've been listening to my body and what it needs. And I know I will go back to it because I love it and not sometimes miss it, but I was not ready for the commitment that I would like to show up with. And I will when I am ready, or maybe I don't even have a commitment, maybe I just have random ones. So I think it's very difficult as well when we are running a business to show up consistently, because we say that consistency helps the algorithm. Also, though, who cares? What helps my algorithm, you know, like I really need to take
Exactly.
care
What
of my
about my
own.
algorithm?
Right. So I paused all of that and listened to me. And now I can recognize that one feeds the other. So
Yeah.
when I have better sleep, I show up better. I can be more powerful. I could record, let's say, more videos on that day, for example. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the acceptance, I think, going back to that, is to yourself
Yes.
primarily.
Just to clarify, what I was saying in terms of acceptance was when we accept ourselves, and as you said, it's not immediately, but it's other people have to accept that situation
Oh, yes.
that
Okay.
you're presenting. So it's this is
The
how I
choice.
feel, this is how I am, it's my choice, it's the acceptance. So perhaps I didn't use the correct word, so apologies for any confusion. But
That's okay.
what I am expressing is when we accept the situation, when we accept that's how it is, then automatically that acceptance is shown out. It's not necessarily people accepting us and being around us, it's just, okay, I accept, because you're feeling it, like you said, so strongly, so much, so powerfully, and it's heartfelt. You know, you're speaking with truth and you're saying who you are. It may not be immediately, and maybe these people will go out your life forever, or like you said, they may come back in, but it's you expressing how the situation needs to be at the moment, so there is no other option but they have to accept it.
Correct. I love that because that is power. That is you recognizing your power. Even if your power is, I'm shutting down for a month, leave me alone. That is still power because it's a choice that you made for yourself.
Yeah. Gorgeous. There's another thing I wanted to ask you about as well, because we've spoken about how important it is to have time for ourselves, so important to, you know, take a holiday away and space. But would you say it's equally important to be with like-hearted people who can really support you as well? Because I'm going goosebumps again, because there so many of us, this is men and women alike, feel that there's this like pressure, this the busyness thing again, to do everything, help everybody else. Okay, tick, 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 done that. I'm all right, I can do it all on my own. And there's almost like it's like a taboo to show, and it's not a weakness asking for help. It's almost as if people feel that asking for help or going to see a therapist or going to see a coach like yourself is a weakness. What would you say to that?
It is very interesting because culture does not teach us that it's okay to ask for help. I think I learned that I need to manage everything by myself. and me asking for help is admitting defeat. And I have now come to a place where I recognize that you have gifts that I do not have. And instead of being jealous of them, you do you at your best. Because for me to do what you do, I most probably need to grind and hustle, which I don't want to. So it is you recognizing what your strengths and powers are. And then when you recognize that you're not strong in this particular area, it's very okay to ask for help. One, because it's done quicker, but also you are allowing that other person to share what they are good at. So I think it's really interesting, this give and take process, but it comes from a place of self awareness, self confidence, that when you really recognize who you are open for other people's input. And yes, I do agree that it's healthy to be around other people who are on the same vibration, on the same awareness. I think it's very, very healthy that you speak to someone who will also top up when you give. You don't always give, but the other person will top you back up, which I feel like this conversation is going.
Yeah.
I'm sharing and you're topping me back up, which is beautiful. It doesn't happen with everyone. So if you have a very, very small handful of people around you, maybe few are in person would be great, but even if they are on the online world, you can reach across. I have like around a monthly or something like this, someone from the US, and I love chatting with her, and she's one of us. And it's so beautiful. And when I was in New York, I actually met her in person for the first time. And it was explosive, but also calm. And it's like I knew her forever. And it's like we were besties, knowing each other since we were at school. And it's so beautiful to connect with these people who, yes, top you up because, listen, we are human and sometimes we are running on low. And she is one of the few people who I allow in when I'm down, when I'm not feeling good, because I know I need to show up for others, especially if they are clients, of course. However, for her, I don't need to show up. And in that down moment, I recognize my feelings and it's nice to talk about it. So absolutely, it's vital to have, in my opinion, few high vibration people who are functioning in a similar mindset, in a similar wavelength. If they also work online, it helps because they recognize where you come from, what you do, and who you are. If they're coaches, it helps, not necessarily. So if there are similarities, lifestyles, if they have kids or not, if they live abroad or away from home or not, these little, kind of boxes, not to tick, but to recognize in others is really nice to be able to share. And I feel this is a really important small thing to continue having, especially after going through disconnection in the world, that yes, we do need to connect and we need to plug into source energy and into the universe, but also connect hearts together with another person who ideally doesn't only take, but also fills you up.
Absolutely. No, it's beautiful. Finding our tribe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Mine has become quite small, and even though in the beginning I didn't want to accept this, I'm thrilled that those will always show up. Handful, but they will always show up by hook or
I
by
hear
crook.
you.
If I'm down or up, they're going to be there applauding or holding my hand or saying nothing. I love that because I know that when I'm in the dumps and I just send a text, they show up or they call, or actually they don't do anything, but like I know they are there.
You
Sometimes
feel
I don't
them.
even need to message them, and then they message and say,
Yeah.
you okay? Actually, no, I'm not okay. Well done for recognizing that. So this deep connection with your
Beautiful.
tribe, and it's beautiful. It's really, really nice. But it does change. I think friendship is something that we don't really talk about, how it changes over the years for
Yeah.
adults. For myself, my experience with being a child-free woman, it was a very, very interesting journey because usually most women make friends through their kids' friends or parents. And I don't have that experience at all. Plus, I'm in a new country for the third time. So whoever I had before are gone. Some of them are still online by choice. And it's a really, really interesting journey. And then finally, I met a Hungarian woman who is living here, who is also child-free through internet, through social
Brilliant.
media, which is incredible. But you need to take action. I could lull and sob and just be sorry for myself, or I could take action and be like, right, where do I go? Where do I start? And I found this woman who literally lives so close, and she is from a different country like me. She's living here not in her hometown, like me, and suddenly we had 25 things in common. I was like,
Amazing.
what? So there is also
Yeah.
pluses to social media. So do also extend, but recognize those moments that you are different from others. If you are from others, I've always been the, not outcast, but I've always been kind of different and not hanging out with the popular girls. So I still don't look for that, but do find your tribe. And when I say your tribe, is the person who will understand where you are coming from. Because for me, most people don't live like me. Most people who I know don't have an online business, don't have their own business, have kids, and don't live abroad. So those four things are so important to me because those are who I am, a big part of who I am. And if they do not have that experience, it's very difficult to be understood, seen,
Sure.
or heard. Very difficult. And you need to be open with that person, your tribe, completely. At least for me, I can't fluff around. I'd rather not speak to a person because I just go deep immediately. And it's very, very important to connect with people who live similarly to you. I'm not saying everyone should be like that, because I still obviously have friends who are moms who still
Yeah,
live
of
at
course.
home,
Yeah.
of course. But you need those very few who have similar lifestyles,
Speak your
because
language.
or else you feel so alone. It's so
Yeah.
normal nowadays to feel alone in this online world, especially mine. Mine is not face to face. It is rarely, and it's gorgeous, but it is not face to face. So sometimes I do go through 2, 3 days where I would only have spoken to my husband, or maybe to the shopkeeper or to the postman. You know, that is not a connection.
No.
So I do highly encourage that connection to be kept and to be held, or created as well.
Yeah. And so just finding somebody that very much speaks your language, basically.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
exactly. And also, by the way, speaking about that,
Yeah.
even the actual language, like I
Yeah.
needed someone here to speak English, even though I'm in Germany. It was crucial and vital. And I found two, so I'm doing well.
I hear you, because I'm English in I speak English in Spain, and I speak Spanish. I'm understood, but to just not have to think about what you're saying,
Exactly.
it's just like, oh yeah,
Because
I
it's
hear you on that.
exhausting.
Yeah,
And also for me, then there's another level that my mother tongue is actually Maltese. So I
absolutely. I was
also
just thinking that
created
as well. Yeah.
an experience now that
Mm,
is literally this weekend where I will be using my mother tongue. And for me, it's so good to just completely rip it off. Because
mm,
even though I'm very fluent in English,
mm,
when you speak with your mother tongue, it's different. It's a
absolutely.
more gutty,
It's roots.
raw.
Yeah,
Exactly, it's the
it's
roots. And
roots.
I love that I created that for myself, and people are on board, and I'm really proud of me and them. So yay.
Excellent. Yay! Brilliant.
Create it for yourself. It will happen.
Yes. I just appreciate you so much. I just think you're wonderful. Thank you so, so much. So
And
much.
here up to you, beautiful. I know that you see in me what you have within yourself. So
Oh,
thank you for recognizing me whilst recognizing it in yourself.
oh, thank you, gorgeous. And I just wanted to share as well. We are not alone, and there's this few, and I get quite emotional with this, but there's this, I really appreciate, like I said, I really appreciate you, and I know there's so many people going through feeling this loneliness, feeling this sense of separation. Remember, you are not alone. Even if you feel you're alone and you're physically nobody's around you, just put your hand on your heart and remember us. Okay, remember Angele, remember me. We are here, we are connected. I'm goosebumping with this as well. Okay, so you are not alone. And you know, there's many of us intuitive empaths who sometimes feel we have to hide in a cave almost, because it can get too much. Give yourself space, give yourself compassion, be kind and wonderful to yourself as you are, as you would treat your best friend, as Angele so beautifully said, and just connect when it feels right. But take that beautiful time for you. And if you don't feel like being around anybody, and that's really what your heart and your body and soul is saying, remember, we're still here. Okay. So
Thank you. This was magical, it was divine, it was spiritual, enlightening, inspirational. And let me be me. It felt good to talk a little bit about myself. It's been a minute. So thank you for also giving me the stage. I'm still that performer on stage. And this for me was a stage. And I genuinely really appreciate you allowing me to be seen and heard. Thank you, Aline.
Oh, thank you so much, my gorgeous. You are incredible, and I love you very, very much.
Same. Thank you so
Mwah.
much.
And I will share all the information, as I've said already, about Angèle, so you can get in touch. So much love. Thank you so much for joining us. Ho. Mwah.